into the chaos. So, I got another video request from the same fan actually. This time it's not just going to be about one Sonic villain, it's going to be about all the Sonic villains. I'm going to be talking about each villain in order from the first one that appeared, which would be Eggman, to the last one who appeared, which would be Infinite. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get right into it. So the obvious first villain on here is going to be Dr. Eggman. He has been Sonic's main villain since the very beginning. I'm pretty sure he's been a villain in just about every single Sonic game. There's only a few that I can think of where he hasn't been a main bad guy. Probably Sonic Heroes. And that's pretty much all I can think of. Since he's been a villain for so long, he has had lots of different suits and machines to try to destroy Sonic. Some of his most famous ones are probably the Big Arms Robot and the Death Egg Robot. My personal favorite Eggman mech was the Egg Emperor from Sonic Heroes. I know I said he technically wasn't a villain in here, so he's not even using this, but it's a really awesome suit. Like, if Eggman's ever in a future Sonic game, they should have him use this only in like a smaller form, I guess. Just have him move around slaying enemies. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I don't really need to say much about Eggman because he's a very well-known villain. And anything I could say would just be something you most likely already know about him. So let's just get on to the next villain, which is Metal Sonic. Now, Metal Sonic first appeared in Sonic CD, and he's a very popular villain. Everyone likes him, for the most part, I'm pretty sure. He was designed to, obviously, be a better Sonic and take him down, which has led him to be kind of obsessed with it. You know, that's his programming, and it got to the point where he overthrew Eggman in Sonic Heroes. That's why I kept saying Eggman wasn't the villain in Sonic Heroes. Metal Sonic was pulling the strings, if you didn't already know. But yeah, in Sonic Heroes, he overthrows Eggman and tries to, you know, just take down Sonic and be the most powerful there is. Now, the next villain I'm going to talk about is Chaos, and he is the god of destruction. But anyways, he was sealed in the Master Emerald by Tikal after destroying Knuckles' tribe. The reason why he did this, though, was because they were attacking him and the Chow and trying to take the Master Emerald, and that enraged him. So I don't really think he's that much of a bad guy per se. I mean, the fact that he's the god of destruction makes it seem like he's just a destructive monster, mindless destructive monster, but I don't think so, because he just wants to protect the Chow and the Master Emerald. I mean, he is a mutated Chow after all, so anyways, Chaos gets more of his power by collecting Chaos Emeralds. After each Chaos Emerald he collects, he gradually gets stronger and changes form. With the first few Chaos Emeralds he gets, he doesn't really seem to get that much power, actually. It just seems to be just a transformation, and that's about it. As you can see, Chaos 6 is, well, it's bigger than Chaos 0, but he doesn't seem to have that much destructive power. That is until he becomes Perfect Chaos, and then he's strong enough to destroy a whole city. So that's a pretty drastic power change. I don't know if that's just the Chaos Emeralds themselves, or if Chaos just has a different reaction to getting all 7 compared to just having a few of them. Like, maybe he just didn't use them the same way as he uses all 7. I don't know how to explain it. But after Sonic defeated him in his perfect chaos form, he became more tamed and less angered, and Takal was able to take him back into the Master Emerald, where he resides now, forever, I guess. Or I shouldn't really say forever, because in Sonic Battle he did show up again at the very end when, right before the final boss, for some reason Chaos shows up. I guess. I actually don't know why he would have showed up. They said he showed up because when disaster happens, that's when he appears. But he doesn't really do anything. Like, you don't even have to fight him, I don't think. He's just there just to be there. Maybe he actually wanted to test the strength of the heroes before they went to go defeat Eggman. I don't know. Now to talk about the Bio Lizard. He is the prototype of the ultimate life form. The creature that was made before Shadow. And as you can see, he is a pretty drastic difference from Shadow. So this was probably a very early prototype. He only shows up at the very end of Sonic Adventure 2 to stop the heroes from stopping Gerald's plan of destroying the Earth. So he was basically like a backup plan if Shadow were to fail, that the Bio Lizard would just carry out the mission for Shadow. There's not too much to say about him since he only appears in the very end of the game and never shows up in any other game except for Sonic Generations, but that doesn't add anything to the story about him. That's just a game that brings back all the previous Sonic elements. It doesn't add him to the story in any way, really. Now, Black Doom, the villain of Shadow the Hedgehog. He is the leader of the Black Arms race, and I already did an entire video about him, so I'm not really going to go into any detail. If you want to see the video, I'll put a link to it so you can check it out. Now, Mephiles is the main antagonist of Sonic the Hedgehog 2016, or everyone knows it by Sonic 06. Despite this being a bad game in everyone's eyes, Mephiles is seen to be as one of the good parts. Like, everyone really loves this guy as a villain. A lot of people talk about him probably more than any other Sonic villain. Even probably Eggman, actually. And a good reason for it too. He is a good villain. He is cunning, deceitful, and pretty strong in his own right. His goal was to reunite with Iblis and basically destroy the universe. And he did that by tricking Silver into trying to kill Sonic. And when that didn't work, he killed Sonic himself, which is the first villain to actually kill off Sonic. Probably the first villain to kill off any character, any main character. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't played every game in the world, so there's probably a lot of main characters that got killed by a villain. But yeah, he's very interesting. He's able to time travel on his own, and he uses that to just go wherever the heck he chooses. He goes to the future to talk to Silver, he goes back to the past. And he's even able to make clones of himself during his boss battle. So if he really wanted to, he could probably trick characters a lot more than he already has been doing. The thing about Mephiles is he's shown to be able to defeat Sonic himself, as seen in one of the final cutscenes of the game. And yet he decides to let someone else do it. Like, he'd rather trick someone into killing an innocent person in their eyes. Like, Silver would see Sonic as a good person, but Mephiles decides to trick him into thinking that he's a bad person instead of just killing him himself. Like, he'd rather tear a possible alliance apart instead of doing it himself. And that's how, like, that says a lot about his character and who he is. Iblis is the other half of Solaris, and he is a very destructive creature. He seems to be kinda mindless, destructive being. Silver has a hard time defeating him in the future, because no matter how many times you destroy him, he just keeps coming back. Eraser Jin over here comes from Sonic and the Secret Rings, and he is a villain that wants to get total power over the storybooks. Throughout the story, he constantly insults Sonic and talks down on him, so he doesn't really seem to have respect for his enemies in any type of way. He's just an arrogant genie who just wants to control everything for himself. Now we got the Black Knight over here, and he is the bad guy for Sonic and the Black Knight. At least at first he is. In the beginning of the story, the Knights of the Round Table state that he isn't the same king that he used to be. So he's basically just been corrupted. The true villain of Sonic and the Black Knight is Marlena, and she is basically a dog mage who doesn't want everything to end, so she tries to make an eternal life and rule over the kingdom. She transforms into this hideous beast. Actually quite cool looking beast to fight Sonic in this realm that she created. She doesn't really want evil to happen per se. She's just kind of a scared person who doesn't know what to do about the thought that everything will come to an end. So now we got this freaky looking villain here, Dark Gaia, the main antagonist of Sonic Unleashed. He is the opposite of Light Gaia. He brings the world into darkness. Was in a deep slumber, but was awakened prematurely because of Eggman, and therefore he wasn't able to fully reassemble himself. But by the end of the game, he's able to... I guess this is his full form now. But yeah, Dark Gaia is meant to bring the world into darkness. He doesn't seem to be much of a thinking creature, just similar to Iblis, just a mindless, destructive being. So then there's the Nega Mother Wisp from Sonic Colors, but specifically the DS version. She's the hidden final boss. And she just gets a bunch of negative energy and starts to look like a beast. But she really doesn't want to cause any harm. She's just inflicted with basically a disease. But Sonic obviously saves her and turns her back to normal. So that's cool. Then over here, the boss for Sonic Generations is Time Eater. And the Time Eater is a being that just goes through time and just messes stuff up. There's really not much to say. So, the Time Eater seems to be messing up time in like a very random way until Eggman learns how to control it, because assuming it's been around since the start of Sonic, it never actually interferes with Sonic's timeline for a very long time. So it is a very destructive creature, but it doesn't really know what it's doing. At least it doesn't seem like it knows what it's doing. Okay, so now we got the villains of Sonic Lost World. Everyone's least favorite villains, basically everyone hates these characters. And if they don't hate them, they usually don't like them that much. The Deadly Six, which is Zavok, Zaz, Xena, Zik, what's the yellow guy's name? Crap, I don't know all the names. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm referring to them as the Deadly Six, which is something that a lot of people do as well. They don't really look at these people individually. In Sonic Lost World, they are commanded by Eggman at the very start, but once he loses the magic conch shell, whatever the heck it's called, they are able to take control of his mechs and use them against Eggman, so that they become the villains they become the main villains for the majority of the story. They all have like one-dimensional personalities, but to be fair, they aren't shown too much throughout the story to be given more development. I mean, it's not that the story's short or anything, but you know, you have like 2 cutscenes, each individual Zeddy. But then at the very end, they kind of get a little more personality to them. Like when they're defeated for like the last time, Zaz over here talks about like he's gonna get in like big trouble or something, and then the big yellow guy says his mom always said he was gonna be a loser, which is kind of sad, honestly. Yeah, but that's the Deadly Six. And Zavok over here has the most personality out of all of them. A lot of people really don't like Zavok because, you know, they see him as a clone of Bowser. And honestly, I mean, yeah, he draws similarities to Bowser and was clearly meant to be based off him, but he's his own character. Like, he doesn't share very much similar personality traits to Bowser, and even kind of has his own fighting style going on, that being using that awesome laser dragon thing to fight, and being able to control technology with his mind like the other Zeddy, which is something Bowser can't really do, or doesn't really show to be able to do. Although I will say that the final boss fight with him in the Wii U version is definitely just Mario Bros. With a Sonic skin over it, like down to the very last molecule. Like, he grows giant and he chases Sonic up a freaking side-scrolling stage. It's exactly like Mario Bros. Wii combined with Super Mario Bros. 2. Bowser chasing you, breaking stuff down, but going up rather than sideways. Like, that literally was exactly Mario. But other than that, like, he's his own character. And I feel like he needs to, like, Zavok of all the Zeddy should get more credit. Like, people get mad at him for being in reoccurring games, but like, how can you develop a personality if you're only in one game? Or too much of a personality. I mean, if you mess up his personality in the first game, why not give him a chance to be more developed? In fact, in Team Sonic Racing, Eggman states that Zavok is helping him because he owes him a favor. And that shows that he has respect in, like, keeping his word. And also, when he loses to Sonic, he says he admires a strong opponent. Meaning he doesn't just look down on everyone. He doesn't just think he's the very best. And I think that's pretty interesting. Other people might not like Zavok, but Zavok's like one of my favorite Sonic villains, to be honest. As for the other Zeddy, they don't really get any time to shine and develop their personality, even though they're the main villains in Sonic Lost World. And now for the Sonic Boom series, we got Lyric over here. I don't really know most people's opinion about Lyric, but me, I'm kind of indifferent to him. He is a snake that lived long ago with the Ancients, I think they're called. And on his search for the crystals, he got really sick and could not be saved by the technology that his tribe had, or civilization had. So he had to resort to technology to be able to heal himself. And because of that, he decided that, normal living beings are kind of trash, and only technology and robots should be alive. Should be around, I should say, because technology's not really alive, not really. Anyways, yeah, so that's Lyric for you. He's a pretty smart villain, to be honest. He's able to overpower Eggman's technology with just the press of a button. Although Boom Eggman is kind of a joke character for the most part, it's still impressive to pull off something like this. Also, when Sonic and his team were collecting the crystals, Lyric decided not to chase after them or to go find the crystals himself and just sit back and watch Sonic do it and then confront Sonic after they collected them. So yeah, that's a pretty smart strategy there too. He even seemed to learn how to block Sonic's spin dash attack just from one battle with him in the past. Now the last villain we have here is Infinite from Sonic Forces. Another villain that people aren't too fond of usually. Some people like him, some people hate him. I honestly think he's a pretty decent villain and deserves a little more credit. Infinite is a character who thinks he's better than everyone else and likes to prove that. He's so arrogant and full of himself that he chooses not to kill Sonic on multiple different occasions even after beating him. Like in the very first cutscene of the game, the first time you fight him, and he also chooses not to kill the Avatar twice, I believe, and that ends up leading to his downfall later on in the story. One of the reasons why people say Infinite's not really a good character or villain is because his backstory doesn't really have much to go off of, or it's just stupid in general. But I think it's an okay backstory. It just fits with his character of who he is. He just wants to prove he's better than everyone else. And then when he got beaten and was like, he got beaten really bad and was like shamed upon by Shadow, that kind of drove him to want more power. And thus he acquired the Phantom Ruby, which is capable of doing pretty much anything actually. It can rip holes in time and space. It can create black holes, basically. So with the Phantom Ruby, he became a very powerful opponent, capable of taking down basically every character in the Sonic universe, even some when they are working together. For the next part of the video, I have ranked the Sonic villains from E to S on this low quality tier list I have right here. No pictures, just the names of the villains. And I ranked them based on their personality, the placement in the Sonic story, and also based on how much of a threat the villain is. As you can see here at the bottom tier, the only one at E tier is Nega Mother Wisp. And the reason for that is because she wasn't really involved in the story at all. Like, I don't even think she's mentioned in either games. I know she's not mentioned in the Wii version. And I don't think she's mentioned in the DS version until you actually get all 7 Chaos Emeralds. So she basically wasn't a threat the entire game and had no involvement in causing any of the bad stuff that was happening. Not only that, but she's not really a bad guy anyways. She was just cranky from having all this negative energy inside of her. And while it is stated that she created Planet Wisp, which means she's probably strong enough to destroy a planet, it didn't ever really seem like she was gonna do that. Next we have the Black Knight from Sonic and the Black Knight, and this guy isn't really that much of a threat. In the very beginning cutscene, it looks like Sonic was gonna take him out right from the start. And throughout the story, he doesn't really seem to be that much of a threat, especially since he's not really the villain in the story. Aside from that, he just has a basic knight personality, and while he's not a bad villain, I mean, he's low on the tier list, but he's not really a bad villain. He's just kinda, you know, just kinda there. Next to the Black Knight, we have Lyric, who is another villain who's just kinda bland. And that's only because he basically takes the same role as Eggman, with trying to turn everything into technology. And it doesn't really seem like he's much of a threat either. Like, the Sonic team doesn't seem to be scared of him for the most part. The only time they seem to be scared of him is when they get ambushed by him halfway through the story, and in the very beginning when they meet him, because they don't really know much about him, but he knows about Sonic a little bit for some reason, so they're a little intimidated by that. But other than that, he's not really that much of a threat. I mean, in the DS version, Amy was taking him on by herself until she got distracted by calling Sonic. But if it weren't for that, it seemed like she was gonna take him down all by herself. Next we have the Deadly Six, and they have kind of weak personalities. Everyone already knows this, that their personalities are kind of one-dimensional. I feel like they could have easily worked on it, and could still do that to this day. But with the little amount of screen time each individual one was given, despite them actually being the main enemies of the game, they didn't really have much time to develop their personalities. Although, like I previously stated, Zavok is the best of the 6, and if it was just solely based on him, I would easily put him in C tier, because he seems to be a bigger threat than the rest of the Zeddy. Like not only does he control Eggman's forces along with the rest of the Zeddy, but he's also kind of manipulating the rest of the Zeddy himself, as if he doesn't really care about them, which he probably doesn't. But since I'm grouping them all together, they're going in D tier. Again, not really bad villains. Like, I really don't think any of these Sonic villains are bad, except for Nega Wisp, but that's because Nega Wisp isn't supposed to be a villain. But they aren't really that deserving of anything higher than a D. Like, they get by, but they don't get by good. First in C tier, I have BioLizard, and I had a hard time placing him here. I was gonna put him down in D tier, like, way in front of Black Knight. And that's because he only shows up at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, and he doesn't really control any of the plot. Everything was started because of what Shadow and the rest of Team Dark had previously did. I decided to put him in C tier because although he doesn't really perform any of the plot, it's kind of a way to represent Shadow undoing what he did. Like, the BioLizard is the prototype of Shadow, he has to basically fight himself in a way to stop everything. And a bonus for the fact that the Biolizard was kind of hinted at earlier on in the story and then showed up. Unlike the Mother Wisp, who was never mentioned at all or even shown, as far as I'm concerned, Biolizard at least had some references to him, and then he shows up at the end, which is kind of a good reveal. And then after the Biolizard, I have Time Eater, and he's in C tier because while he is a dangerous threat, being able to go rip through time and stuff, alone he doesn't seem to be doing anything evil. He's, like I previously said, if he's been around since the very beginning of Sonic and he just now showed up, he doesn't really seem to be that much of a threat all by himself. It's only when Eggman decides to take control of him does he become an evil deity that destroys time. Not that he doesn't do it on his own, but like, it's more destructive when Eggman's in control. And that's why I only placed him at C tier. Eraser Jin is just kind of bland to me. I mean, this might be because I have no connection with him at all. I didn't really play Sonic in the Secret Rings except for like the first stage. But to be fair, when he gets the Secret Rings, he's able to control all of the storybook, which is basically kind of creating a universe, although it's only in a story's perspective. In that realm, it's basically a universe. But also because it's in a storybook, I don't really know how much of a threat that actually was to Sonic's world. Like, the storybooks were in for a big dictatorship, but like, I don't know how bad that actually would be from Sonic's world's perspective. And as you can see here, the other person in C tier at the top is Metal Sonic. I know people are probably going to be upset that Metal Sonic is in C tier, but I can't really put him any higher because he doesn't really do much. As far as I'm concerned, the only big role he's had was in Sonic Heroes when he basically was the main villain the whole time, just in the shadows, disguising himself as Eggman. And he even becomes a pretty big threat there, needing the powers of Super Sonic, Super Knuckles, and Super Tails to be defeated. But other than that, he doesn't really do anything in his normal form. Like, he has a good personality of wanting to overcome Sonic, and even going past his programming to do so, and evolving, but he's not much of a threat. Like, I don't see him ever be a villain that someone's afraid to fight against, except for, like I said, in Sonic Heroes at the final battle. But even then, it didn't really seem like much was in danger. B tier starting, we have Infinite, and people are definitely gonna be mad at me now because I put Infinite above Metal Sonic. But Infinite has like the exact same personality as Metal Sonic in a way, as in he wants to be better than other people. But Infinite kind of has a desire to be more powerful than everyone, while Metal Sonic is kind of strictly towards Sonic. And Infinite is also much more of a threat. The fact that Eggman was able to take over the world because of him just says it all right there. Like, Metal Sonic was never able to take over the world, but Infinite was able to do it on his first debut in the very beginning. And he kind of only failed the second time around because Eggman didn't check to make sure all the prototypes were destroyed so that someone could counter Infinite. If it weren't for that, Infinite would have taken out everyone in the world, and it would have just been the end right there. Not to mention that Infinite can go through dimensions with the Phantom Ruby, although he's never done it himself, the Phantom Ruby has. So yeah, I do believe Infinite should rank higher than Metal Sonic, even though people are gonna hate that. Infinite definitely is more of a threat, has like the same personality, so Infinite would be higher. Melina is the same as Eraser Jin basically, but with a better personality. She goes through emotional sadness and decides to act upon that sadness to save the world in her eyes. And she can basically rewrite the story she's in the same as Eraser Jin did. So they're like on the same power scale and same level of danger, but Melina just has better personality. And the fact that she was revealed to be the villain later on as like a surprise is also better suited than just Eraser Jin kind of just being there. Above Melina I have Chaos, who is the god of destruction, and with the 7 Chaos Emeralds he's able to drown the entire city basically, and further out. I don't know how far the freaking tsunami of water reached when he turned into perfect chaos, but it seemed pretty far. Like, it seemed definitely to reach outside the city. And Chaos has a good personality too. He only acts the way he is because he was attacked by Knuckles' tribe and was forced into the Master Emerald, and then just spent years of getting rage instead of being peaceful like he used to be. And that's more interesting than most of the other villains that were lower on the list. Next is Dark Guy, and while he doesn't have an interesting personality trait or anything, he is one of the stronger villains, and so I had to put him up here. I believe he is one of the only villains that can damage Supersonic, which just shows how strong he actually is. He was able to destroy the Earth too just by awakening, and he wasn't even in his full state. So that puts his power above Chaos, even though Chaos had all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Next we have Iblis, who is basically on the same scale as Dark Gaia, just kind of a mindless, destroying creature, but the fact of the matter is he's able to destroy the world just by being summoned. And the fact that Sonic 06 revolves around the fear of Iblis being released kind of adds to the story and how dangerous he is, or how the story shows how doomed the future is when Iblis is summoned. So next we have Black Doom, and he has an interesting personality and was very threatening throughout the whole game of Shadow the Hedgehog. His power wasn't really known and his intentions weren't really known, but he still had a very threatening presence on the whole story. At his full power, he's able to decimate a whole city basically, and is able to take on Super Shadow, although he can't hurt him like Dark Gaia could. The fact that Black Doom can still take him on and have an interesting personality and commands basically the whole story. Not even just a mindless plan of destruction, but just dominating the human species so that he could make them follow his command and use them as basically a food source. That's a pretty elaborate villain right there, who is also very threatening. So I felt like he deserved to be an A tier. And we have Eggman next, and it's honestly kind of surprising he made it up here. I didn't think he'd make it here. I thought he'd kind of be halfway through. But when you think about it, I mean, he's been in the most Sonic games. He's the main Sonic villain, so of course he was going to be up here. He is a very intelligent scientist, so he's able to make doomsday devices that even rival beings that naturally have that power. He makes multiple battleships that can fight Supersonic, even without the Chaos Emeralds sometimes. He's very clever and deceitful and can trick his enemies into thinking that they got the upper hand and then pull a trap door from under them, and then he's back on top, like when he did that in Sonic Unleashed, and he drained Supersonic of his energy. And he did it in Sonic Forces a couple times where he made him think that, yep, he's all out of energy and power sources, and then nope, he's got another machine and backup and stuff like that. And to top it all off, he's got a good personality. He's a very serious scientist who's also goofy at the same time somehow. I mean, he's been more goofy over the years, especially in the Boom series. Like, he's all goofy in Boom series. But in the main Sonic series, he's just serious and goofy. They just make it work somehow. Surprising nobody probably. At the top of A, I have Mephiles, and then in S tier, Solaris, the combined creature of Mephiles and Iblis. Like I already said, Mephiles is a very cunning and deceitful villain. He just has the best personality out of any character on this list. He's very threatening too. Even though he probably can't destroy a planet by himself, he's still the most threatening villain out of everyone on here. Like, his presence just says danger. And it makes all the other villains seem like good guys in comparison. Just the way he moves, the way he looks, the way he acts, it just seems to top all these other villains here. And when you combine Solaris and Iblis together, it creates the most threatening villain that Sonic has ever faced in his entire career. Solaris was gonna destroy, or basically did destroy the whole universe. And it took Super Shadow, Super Sonic, and Super Silver to beat him. But even then, like, they still weren't able to completely kill him off. Like, in the future, they already showed what Iblis can do by himself, destroy the entire world. So that was already the threat right there, but Mephiles wanted to go further, and he didn't want to just do it by himself, because he could have easily got with Iblis at any point where Iblis was alone, or just killed Sonic in the very beginning, but no, he didn't do that. He tried to manipulate other people to do it for him. He wanted Shadow on his side. He wanted the naive Silver to kill Sonic, knowing that that's exactly the opposite of what Silver is trying to do. Silver is trying to prevent destruction, but Mephiles wanted to manipulate him into doing that. And when Mephiles finally killed Sonic and got together with Iblis, everything just seemed hopeless. The whole dimension was destroyed basically right away. And there was very little hope that Sonic would come back to life, and even less hope that they were able to stop him, and they couldn't in the end. They had to resort to erasing everything, which everyone hated, but that just shows you how strong Solaris is. You have to stop him from ever existing, to stop him from erasing everything from existence. Like, it's just... there's no greater threat than Solaris. The build-up to Solaris doesn't match any other villain on here. Top S tier, best Sonic villain. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.